since we are unable to get together to have a financial aid meeting, I'm going to present this in a couple videos. So here we go, what you need to know about financial aid. Some topics we are going to discuss: what is financial aid, cost of attendance, expected family contribution, what is financial need, which is usually different from what we think it is, categories, types, and sources of financial aid, the free application for student financial aid, which is the FAFSA, and special circumstances that a student may have. So what is financial aid? It consists of funds provided to students and families to help pay for post-secondary educational expenses. What is included in a cost of attendance? So first you have direct costs, which are billed by or paid directly to the college, such as tuition, on-campus housing, room and board. Indirect costs, which are usually necessary expenses such as transportation, personal care items, and that are not paid to the college. Colleges combine direct and indirect expenses into the cost of attendance or the student's budget. And the cost of attendance varies widely among the different types of colleges, whether they're public, private, in-state, out-of-state. So your cost of attendance is going to be different for each college. Then, what is the expected family contribution, or you'll hear it called EFC? It's the amount that a family can reasonably be expected to contribute, but not what the family will pay to the college. Your EFC is the same regardless of what college the student attends. So your EFC is determined by the government, and it doesn't change between colleges. There's two components to your EFC, the parent contribution and the student contribution. And the student contribution is calculated much less, so they can still have a part-time job and it not hurt them in their financial aid expected family contribution. It's calculated using data from a federal application form that you will fill out online and a federal formula, which is a lot of math, and most people don't even understand it. So financial need. They take the cost of attendance minus your expected family contribution, and that equals your financial need. So the need will vary based on the cost of different colleges. Your financial aid need determines how much aid you may receive from the college. Colleges may not be able to offer enough aid to meet your financial need. And the expected family contribution is always higher than what we think it should be. So some different categories of financial aid, which is what the college will give you to help support your student going to school. So there's two different kinds. There's need-based, based on your finances, and then there's non-need-based. Need-based is awarded on the basis of financial need as calculated using the FAFSA. Non-need-based is awarded based on the student's ability, some talents or unique characteristics such as good grades, academic achievements, athletic ability, musical talent. So those are some different things for non-need based. So here's some different types of financial aid. We've got scholarships, grants, loans, and employment. And we'll go over each one of those. Scholarship is money that does not have to be paid back. So in a scholarship, the student keeps that money. At a later time, you do not have to pay it back. It's awarded on the basis of merit, skill, or a unique characteristic. Local scholarships here at Felicity will become available with the application in March, and then those are awarded at our senior awards night. Grants. This is also money that does not need to be paid back. It's usually awarded on the basis of financial need, but it doesn't have to be. There are grants available that are not based on financial need. And then there are loans. And loans are money students or parents borrow, you can do it either way, to pay the college costs. Repayment usually begins after they have stopped going to school, whether they just stop going to school or they graduate. And you should only borrow what is really needed. I had some friends in college who borrowed extra money and bought cars, and which is really borderline not ethical. But you can also look at a loan as an investment in the student's future. So sources of financial aid. The federal government is one source, the states, private sources, civic organizations and churches, and employers are all different sources of financial aid. Completing your FAFSA. Everybody worries about completing the FAFSA. It's not too difficult if you have your tax forms available, because it will tell you to go to line such and such on your tax form and fill that in here. So it really would take less than an hour to do if you have your tax form available. There are multiple ways to complete the FAFSA. You can do it on a computer. You can now, since last year, do it on your phone. And there's also a My Student Aid app. Okay, so you can do it. Your student can start the FAFSA on the phone and you can finish it on the computer, so they all work with one another. Okay, completion on doing the FAFSA on My Student Aid app. So it was a year ago that the My Student Aid mobile app launched. It can be used to complete the FAFSA, start the FAFSA. Subsequent versions will offer additional functions, and they will update those frequently. This is what it looks like when you start it on your phone, on the app. We won't go through all these, we'll just kind of flip through them, but that's what it looks like. It asks you, are you the parent, the student, or are you a tax preparer can also do the FAFSA for you, although you will have to pay them, and it is very easy to do it on your own. Okay, creating a save key, which is shown right over here on the second screen, allows you to come back and finish the FAFSA later. So you create your own save key, whether it's just a few numbers or letters, and then you can come back and finish it later. So to get started, you can see that it asks you all the basic information, student social security number, it will ask both of you all these questions, so the student and the parent. And just one parent has to fill this out. Okay, it asks you what schools or what high school you're in. It will ask you, did you receive your diploma or will you receive your diploma? And then you can choose which colleges you want your FAFSA sent to. You can also, if you don't do it at the original time, you can come back later and add colleges at a different time. You can choose 10 schools that you want the FAFSA sent to. Okay, and then there's the FAFSA parent role. Okay, it just asks you some questions as the parent. There are help slides along the way. Okay, and then as you can notice, the green check marks throughout let you know that it is saved successfully. And then at the end, it gives a summary of all the information that you provided. Okay, then you get to sign your FAFSA. So note that you can do this on your phone, and this is the only way. If you're doing it on a computer, you're going to sign it a little differently. And then at the end, it tells you, congratulations, you have successfully submitted your FAFSA. So before, you can do this either before you start the FAFSA or before you sign it. But the student and the parent is going to need an FSA ID. And it gives you access to the Federal Student Aid's online systems and serves as your signature. So the student and the parent will each need their own FSA ID. They cannot use the same cell phone number or email address, so you each have to have a different one. Do not, and I tell the seniors this all the time, do not use your high school email address, because after graduation, you will no longer have that high school email address. So if you don't have your own personal one, it's a good time to make one. You can also enter a verified phone number that you can retrieve username and passwords later. All right, so this shows you what the FAFSA on the computer looks like. It's just as easy. So you've got your FSA ID, and it also lets you, if you see here, you can create one if you haven't done one yet. You can use checkboxes on the computer versus answering yes or no questions, so you just check the boxes that apply to you. Notice the green check marks across the top, goes through each section and tells you which one you have finished. And then both you and a parent need to sign your FAFSA. Then this is the parent signature on this page. So it shows the student signature is complete and the parent signature is complete, and that you signed it electronically. All right, FAFSA special circumstances. This is a very confusing area for students, parents, and colleges, because each college is different. So the dependency, a student up to the age of 23 years old has to use parent information unless there are a few special circumstances. So if your parents are incarcerated, if you've left home due to an abusive environment, or you do not know where your parents are and you can't contact them. So those are a few special circumstances. The next ones are not special circumstances. So just because you don't live with your parents, unfortunately, you still have to use their information. Even if your parents don't provide financial support for you, you have to use their information. If your parents refuse to contribute to your college expenses, that's fine, but you would still need their tax information in order to fill out the FAFSA. If your parents don't claim you as a dependent, you still have to use their information. Or even if they don't want to provide it, talk to me, and we've worked through several situations where we've gotten parents to share their information for the FAFSA. Okay, so more special circumstances. We are going to finish on video number 2.